Good morning, YouTube. This is Chuck Gentles, and I want to welcome you to my channel again. I'm so glad you dropped in. We're going to do something a little different today. You saw from the last video that we tried to do some granules of silver after we did the melt, and things didn't work out right. Well, today we're going to do something that's going to try to remedy that problem. And what you're looking at here is a whip with a bone ash crucible in it. And what we're going to do is some cupelling, and which is a process in which you melt in borax, whatever the product is, whether it be silver or gold. And then if you look here on the bench, you see these three items here. These are lead. So after melt has happened, we start putting lead in, and with that lead, when it melts and flows, you can actually watch the top of the molten metal, and the lead will hook onto the impurities and pour it into the side of the crucible, the bone ash crucible, and that's going to be the name of the game today. So I'll be back. All right, guys, so what you're looking at here is the bone ash crucible with the borax in it and the pieces of the silver that had gold and copper in it, and they're laying on fire brick and attached to the whip there. The whip is the metal handle that holds the bone ash crucible. So what you're looking at behind, or in between the whip handles there, is the lead that we'll be putting inside the crucible as it melts or after it melts. And we're using Mapp gas. You can't do this with propane, and it's a really hard procedure even with Mapp gas. As you'll see here in a minute, I work and work and work at this to get it to where it has to flow and be liquid, and it's an ongoing process. But I've got the video silenced now, so you don't have to hear the roar of that torch through this whole thing. And at the same time I'm doing this, I'm actually doing a test of another microphone, and it didn't go well. Let me just say that I think it was operator error, and it's something I'm going to have to deal with and see if I can get it to work so you have better audio on the videos. And because it's really tough when you're watching and you're not really sure what I'm doing and you can't hear my voice. So we're going to remedy that here in the future, and we'll just see what happens here. It's, the melt. I'm melting or heating the bone ash crucible first, trying to get it hot. So I'm trying to heat from the bottom up, and as you see, as I come over the edge, I blow some of the borax out, and it's all over the bench and everywhere. It's in the air. So it's a good idea to wear a respirator when you do this. Not so much with the silver, but I don't know what fumes the borax makes, but the lead will make a toxic fume that is not good for you. So now I'm working from the top down. And what this is doing is concentrating more on the supposed silver that this is, because when we looked at it in my last video, the silver had a lot of copper and a little bit of gold in it. And it's supposed to be 100% pure, and it definitely was not 100% pure. So I might stop right here and speed this up a little bit, because you're seeing the same thing over and over, because there's not much else I can do here except heat it and heat it and heat it till and it's starting to melt. You can see the edges of the material there is rolling over, so it's melting. It just takes a long time with the Mapp gas. And I've got some the gold bar that we did. We're going to try to do that in a similar situation as this, only we'll do the big bone ash crucible in the foundry. So I have concentrated heat the whole time, and it won't be this spotty like I'm doing here, where I'm hitting the sides and I'm hitting the top and I'm hitting the bottom, and it's really a hard procedure. It can be done, and you'll see here that I do it, but it's a long, hard procedure. And I think I'm running out of fuel. That is not good to run out of fuel. Okay, guys, so what you're seeing here is I run out of Mapp gas after the material started melting, and I started to get a puddle, and I've got to let it cool and change bottles so I have enough gas to go ahead and complete this melt. And I let that happen, and I really got to clean up all the borax that's laying all over everything, and I will do that at the end, so don't worry about that. So we're gonna hook that new bottle up and get it on, get it fired up, and we'll start all over again, only we're real hot and ready to go. So there it is, there's the fire. And it takes quite a little while to melt this. So we're going to, excuse me, do a little bit here, and I'll show you. So like I said earlier, this is a really, really long process, doing it with a Mapp gas torch. I definitely, myself, wouldn't do it. Maybe with the oxyacetylene torch, you could do it. It's just not a good, efficient way to do it. It'll work if you don't mind spending the time to do it, but it takes a long time. I think this will probably take a good half hour or better, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, because you can't maintain the heat like you would in a foundry if you're cupelling this way. It's hard to say, but anyhow, it's gonna work here. You'll see now I'm taking the lead and installing the lead, and that'll melt right into the molten metal, and it's going to carry all the impurities that were there. A lot of copper. This appeared to have, and when I did the melt, it appeared to have a lot of copper in it. And so we're hopefully going to get that copper out and into the cupel, and maybe take some of the other impurities out that what looked like gold, and it tested as 10-karat gold. And that's why I'm putting in more lead, because I need to have at least as much, if not more, lead than I do with what I think is impurities, and trying to cupel it out. So this is the cupellation process. When you're cupelling, it takes a lot of heat, a lot of time, most of the time, and there's no actual formula for using how much lead you use to get out this much impurities, because you're not sure of the impurities. So you put the lead in and melt it until it starts going into the side of the thing, and the cupel dish, and you can see here I'm liquid, and if you look really, really close, I'm doing a stir. It is just starting to go into the sides of the cupel. So let me show you here in a second, and I'll be back. All right, guys, so we're back at it. We got the molten metal. As you can see in the video, I've used two of the lead anchors. As I didn't use bismuth. You can use that also beside the lead, but I didn't use that. I just used regular lead. And you can see by the crucible that the edges, see how like rusty red it is, and that's, I'm sure that's the copper trying to go into the cupel. But I think we're going to reheat again, and as we go here, it's coming right along though. It's not bad. Other than being a really long portion of the video. This is real long here, so it's real hard to keep your interest up when this is going on. It's just the way it is, the way this has to work. So I'll heat this up again and melt, and we'll go from there. Now this is, I'm going from the top because I already had a puddle and it's really hot. And so this is the second time I've cooled it. And it's still hot enough where it melts really easy now. And of course it's really taken its toll on the whip that's holding the bone ash crucible. You can see it glowing red in different places at different times, and it's warping. And I was really concerned at this point that I was going to have it fall out when I go to pour it. So anyhow, now, is this the second bottle? I can't remember. I think this is still the first bottle. But it's melting again, and we continue to go. And I get this melted here, which I should do just shortly be enough. But I got to keep it melted all the way to the bottom. Because if you don't, you're going to have a whole bunch of the material stick in the bottom. Now you want liquid everywhere. So what you should see at the top, once I get this hot enough, is you can see the material floating off, some of the lead and some of the copper and some of the brass or gold, whatever the heck it was, that was looked like gold. We'll see what's going to go and happen. All right, guys, so we're continuing to heat here. It's let's see, I think this was well over about an hour and maybe an hour and a half so far. You can see the whip is getting blackish and reddish and rusty and as we melt, but you can see the liquid now. Everything is liquid in that bone ash crucible. You can't see it moving yet, I don't think, but in a minute you'll be able to see the pieces floating to the side and going into that crucible. So that crucible, when we're done here, will not be worth anything. I mean, it's trash. You can't reuse it because it just won't work. But it's the metal's molten hot, and I'm trying to get that center part to melt down a little bit more. It looks like it's lead, but I think it's not. I think it's the silver. But like I say, it's a long, drawn-out process doing it this way. It's too bad, but it just is. So if you're going to do this, just be aware that two things are really, really important with doing this. Is it's going to take a long time, even with a Mapp gas torch, I'm sorry. And the other thing is, make sure you have a respirator on. You go breathing this lead fumes and mixed metal fumes, and it's deadly. It may not get you right away, but it'll be in your lungs. You'll have heavy metal in your lungs. So not a good thing. All right, be back. All right, guys, now you can begin to see around the edge of the molten metal. You can see I'm pointing with my finger that all the little bubbles around the side there, that's the material, the copper and the brass and any impurities attaching itself to that crucible. And it'll continue to do that till I'm ready to pour when I think it's there. And again, there's no real formula for that. You just get it as hot as you can doing that, try to force that all into the sides, and then you pour when you think it's ready. So we're getting ready to do that here just shortly because it's kind of quitting going into the sides. Oh no, it isn't. There's a little bit more. It's trying. Well, it's a really interesting process. Cupellation works, and you're not using deadly acids, you're using deadly heat and molten metal. So you can't get away from how serious this is, I guess. And this is going to be able to be poured here in just a little bit. And the reason I'm doing this way is because my mic failed to record this whole series of clips. So what you're seeing here now is the clips, but it's me doing a voiceover. Okay, guys, you can see the crucible is actually glowing here in spots, and I'm getting it just kind of superheated to get it to pull that lead and pull the different metals out of it. It's really, really close. It's really liquid right here. And I'm going to grab the whip and pour it into that mold, into that first slot. And I can't get my glove on. You can see it's glowing cherry red. So and I'm preheating the mold at the same time I'm doing the crucible. And it's going to get poured here in just a heartbeat. And there it comes, and there it goes. Notice the color. Now that was coppery and goldish looking after the pour. Now we got some slag in the bottom. I don't know exactly what this color is in the very bottom of that bone ash crucible, but look at the sides. That's all stuff that that was impurities, and we're trying to get it out of the silver and into that crucible, that bone ash crucible. And I think we've actually accomplished that. I got a little bit stuck on the stir rod, which surprised me because that's a graphite rod. And usually metals don't stick to that. So we got a little bit more to go, and we'll be back. Okay, so here we are. The silver has been poured into the mold. You can see the tools, but the respirator laying there on the left on top of the gloves that I didn't get on for the pour. There's the tongs, and there's the whip for the bone ash crucible. And you can see right here, I had a little bit left over that went in that center, and it doesn't amount to much, but you can see the crucible I'm pointing at there just barely. All the junk that's in that on the sides and in the side. So we accomplished what we set out to do, and we've got a silver bar, small silver bar. And we will get it out of the mold here in just a short, and we'll dump it on the fire brick so we don't cause any grief on anything else, because the fire brick's still hot. It's been at the bottom of this the whole time. So we'll dump that out on the fire brick. There we go. We got both pieces. Now that's a nice little silver bar, and that's a nice little piece of a silver bar that I can remelt later. So with that bar, looks pretty good. I will test that to make sure that it is silver and has no lead content. But we'll be back. All right, we rounded up some water, put it in our metal can, and I'm fixing to pick up the mold and move it, and obviously those tongs didn't hold it, so now we're just going to cool off the silver, put both pieces in, and that's going to be in the water for just a little bit, and that's the one piece of lead I had left over. That can go back in the lead bucket for the next one. And we'll pull these out. Now they have to be, they're cool now because the water was really cold. That was some cold water. And it looks good, but like I say, where you want to do a test on it and make sure that it tests as silver. And we'll see what happens here in a short. So we got silver, and I don't remember what that weighed. That was 1 ounce of silver that the wire was. And the 1 ounce of silver melted down, and it looked like it had the copper in it and the gold or brass, whatever that was. I'm now thinking it was brass more so than gold, although I tried to test as gold. So anyhow, we will go on with the show here just shortly. All right, guys, so I took the bar on the one side and the piece on the other, and I hit the strike plate with it, the carbon strike plate. And there's the silver solution that you can't see because my paw's in the way. And it's really hard to see through this liquid because it's a little old, and I think it's starting to deteriorate, so I don't know how good this test actually is, but you can see through it. Sorry about the phone going off. You can see through it, and you could still see the silver, so it didn't eat the silver away. So I'm saying that it's silver, but I can't really see it here, so I've ordered some new chemical. When it comes in, I will redo this test before I go any farther with this kind of stuff. So just to make sure that I have something that I'm saying is silver and it's half lead and half silver, I can't have that. So anyhow, this is what we ended up with. And I think it's silver. It looked like silver. It acts like silver. So, you know, if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. All right, guys, what I'm going to try to do now is I'm taking the lead that I used in the test, and I'm going in between the two streaks of silver. I'm putting a lead streak, and the way you test that is you put the acid from the testing for gold on it, and if it turns yellow, then it's lead. Well, it didn't turn anything, so the lead, if it's not yellow, I'm guessing that it's something else. I don't know. So we're not knowing, like I said, my chemicals are old, so that's part of the problem. Okay, guys, so you saw how it's done and how long it takes and what you have to go through to get it separated. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share, subscribe, come back again, give it a really good comment. Thank you so much for watching. Be safe and stay blessed out there. It's a tough world anymore. All right, guys, like the clip says, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share with a friend, subscribe, ring the bell for future notifications, give a great comment, and definitely come back soon. Thank you for watching.